Click that like if you're smiling today. Give a follow to help spread the play. Share the play with friends everywhere, so more can laugh and show they care. Like, follow, share, subscribe, don't hide. Join Vicky Marie's Ride Worldwide. Tap that bell so you never miss a dose of love and endless bliss. YouTube and others, search my name, Vicky Marie. Let's grow this flame. Thanks for the support, you're the best crew. Now go tell the world you know what to do. Vicky Marie. Today, give a follow to help spread the play. Share the joy with friends everywhere. Click that like if you're smiling today. Give a follow to help spread the play. Share the play with friends everywhere, so more can laugh and show they care. Like, follow, share, subscribe, don't hide.
Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world. So I wanted to start with something upbeat today, although we're going to be talking about something very serious. It's maybe different from, the true crime things that we often talk about that involve sort of murder or missing children, etc. So what we're going to talk about today, first of all, I just wanted to ask, don't forget to follow me on social media. I've got 2 YouTube channels, Vicky Marie Chats and Spanish and English with Vicky. And then on TikTok, Vicky Marie Chats True Crime. I've just hit 1,000 followers on there. Thank you so much. I'm going to show my thank you video in a moment. Facebook, I haven't got so many followers on there. I don't really do Facebook that much. I need to upkeep that Facebook account more. But I have a Vicky Marie Chats Facebook account. And then X or Twitter or Twatter, whichever way you want to look at it. I am Learn Vicky 196953. I did have a Vicky Marie Chats account, but it was removed by good old Elon Musk when I said that I thought the X logo looked like a male escort service, and they took umbrage to that and removed my account. I'm also on Instagram, which I don't go on much either, but I do have an Instagram account for you Instagrammers. Again, something else that I need to sort of keep more of an eye on. So those are all my social media accounts. I probably will put that up again at the end. Sorry, one of my little dogs is, trying to demand attention. Right, what am I going to do? So let's have the banner on because I need to say my thanks in a moment. Now, what we are going to talk about in this video, let me tell you what we're going to talk about. Talk about it being a crazy world. You know, I always say it's a crazy world. I just cannot believe what has happened here in Britain. This guy who is a migrant who was in custody for SA offences, which obviously is a horrible thing, and we're going to have a look at the offences that he committed. But it wasn't his fault that on Friday, by mistake, he was released from prison. And to be fair to him, he didn't have a clue what he was supposed to do. Now, apparently he's been caught. I've just seen on the news he has been caught. Is not the right word, because he wasn't really hiding from anyone. He's been found and he is back in custody. But you have to remember, this guy did not escape. He was released by accident, and apparently he returned to reception several times because he didn't have a clue what was going on. So, you know, this is the fault of the prison service, or of the, you know, I don't even know whose fault it is. And apparently many offenders are released by mistake in UK. This happened in the UK, but, you know, if you're watching from any further flung part of the world, like if you're watching from where, you let me know, do you know of these things happening in your country, or is it exclusive to the UK? Are the UK just so shite with all that kind of thing that because apparently lots of offenders are released every year by mistake. I mean, it's unbelievable. So this guy, and I do feel sorry for him, whatever piece of shit it might be for what he did not ask to be released. He did not have a clue what was going on, and he's just been sort of, you know, it's taken them since Friday to find him. But he wasn't hiding. He's still got his bloody prison tracksuit on, for God's sake. And he was seen on CCTV. He was at the library. He was chatting to someone in the street. You know, he probably thought, what the hell's going on? Also, of course, he's not. He's a migrant from Ethiopia, I think. So I don't know how good his English is. So he must have thought, what the hell's going on? Because he's just been sentenced, and he claimed to be innocent. I mean, you know, you can't say that he was innocent, whatever, because he was found guilty. That's our system. You know, people have a trial. This guy was found guilty. And so as far as we're concerned, he's guilty, unless he was going to appeal against it. And then if he's ever found not guilty, then he's not guilty. But, you know, the guy is guilty of SEX offence against a minor. And we're going to have a look at his offence. And I'm not making a judgment on that. He was found guilty. But one thing that we do know, whatever he is, whatever he isn't, it was not his fault that he was released by mistake. So he does not bear the guilt for that. That's for sure. Can you believe it? I mean, you know, I don't think this man was a threat to society. Well, I don't know. Maybe he would have gone off and committed another SEX offence. But, you know, if it happened to him, could it happen to even more serious offenders, like violent offenders? I just think it's incredible. What's behind that? How can someone be released from prison by mistake? How is that even possible? You know, it's like, we're back to the parallel universe, aren't we? Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to do a little bit of waffling first. And of course, I'm going to say my thank yous, and I'm going to say hello to everyone and all those usual waffly things that I do. So if you don't like the waffle, the good thing at the moment would be go make a cup of tea, or, you know, go to the loo, go and have a shower, go to Tesco's and, you know, go and do your shopping. I'm going to waffle. And I know a lot of people do like the waffle, don't they? So, you know, I don't feel bad about waffling, because waffling is popular too. So, you know what I mean? So, where are we going with the waffle, first of all? So the first thing I just want to show you, know, I just said thank you for following me on TikTok. I don't, you know, put a lot of effort into TikTok, I've got to be honest. I just normally just put clips of the videos that I've done on YouTube there. I keep thinking, I need to do more with TikTok, but I don't really understand TikTok. So, you know, I can't believe that I've got to 1,000 followers without really making any effort, except uploading, you short of urgent. Hey,
Oh, there
TikTokers.
you go.
Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. 1,000 followers on TikTok. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. So take care of yourselves, and until I see you again, as always, may your God go with you. Bye. So yeah, 1,000 followers on TikTok. Thank you for all of you who do follow me on TikTok. Very grateful for that. So I've got a list. I've got a list of things that I've got to talk about because I can forget things once I get chatting. The hour? Have you turned your hour back if you're in the UK or wherever you are? Some parts of the world, I suppose you haven't had to change the clocks, but in Europe, in the UK, etc., the clocks have gone back an hour this morning. You can imagine I wasn't very popular with number one son. When I forgot and woke him up an hour too early, woke him up for work, it's like, what? Because he had an extra hour in bed really this morning. I did wonder because, I say I woke him up. He normally wakes himself up. These days, obviously, he's old enough to set his own alarm. But I'm starting to worry, I know... I'm thinking, oh God, it's 9:30. But anyway, it was only 8:30. So I wasn't the most popular person in the world. But you know what? I always forget about the hour. I'm terrible with the hour. Fortunately, these days, the phone tells you or the computer tells you. But I do have some clocks in my house that are, manual. One in the kitchen, and that's what I was going by. I'm thinking, it's funny, it's 9:30 and it's not up. It's unusual, panicking. And of course it wasn't 9:30, it was only 8:30. So there you go, that went down like a lead balloon, you can imagine. I've done worse things than that. I've turned up at the cinema with my son when he was little to watch a film, and I've got the wrong time because I've forgotten to put the hour forward or back. What's the other thing I've done? Twice. Once I've stood at a bus stop waiting for my son's bus to go to school when we lived in a different place, a little away from the village, and wondered why the bus came and just rattled by, didn't stop, because it was the bus for the high school children. And he was only at the junior school because I was an hour early. And I've also actually turned up at the school an hour early years ago. And it was like, again, because, school starts, say, at 9. So it was only 8 o'clock. At the junior school, there was nobody about. There's like tumbleweeds going around, and I was thinking, why is there nobody here? Has there been a 3-minute warning and I haven't heard about it? Is the world ending? So, yeah, I'm not very good. I think you could say that, that's, it's only maybe 4 or 5 times that it's happened. But, yeah, I'm not brilliant with the hour going back or forward. Just sort of I get lost in my own thing and I forget about time. I don't know, or it's this number thing. I have a problem with numbers, definitely. So that was it. So I hope you've all remembered, if you're in a place that does put your clock back, to put your clock back. The other thing that happened this weekend, the other bit of waffle, of course, was my car broke down again. Saturday morning again. So it was last Saturday morning it broke down. It was Tuesday before I got it repaired. Now it's again a Saturday. You couldn't pick a worse time for your car to break down because everyone, it's weekend. The guy who fixes my car, he's got his kids for the weekend because he's estranged from his partner. All the other garages are short. It could have been a lot worse. I had a feeling I was going to go to a supermarket a little bit further away. And I thought, no, I'm going to go to the one in the village just in case, because at least if the car won't start. I had a feeling when I come out, at least I'll be able to walk home. But I had the dogs in the car. I had heavy shopping, so I had to walk home, not far, about 10-minute walk. It was boiling hot. It was 30 degrees. It was 2 o'clock, or just after 2 o'clock. So the sun was high in the sky. I'm trying to manage my dogs who are little shits and don't walk nicely on the lead. So I've got the dogs, the shopping, so it wasn't much fun. But anyway, so do you know what? I'm sort of quite relieved in a way, because today I don't have to drive. So luckily for me, a lovely, lovely person that I know took number one son to work this morning, because really, to be honest, I don't need a car that much. I work at home. I do my YouTube. I do my classes, everything at home. But, he has to go to work, and he's just been made manager of the restaurant where he's working now, or he is going to be in a couple of weeks. So, he's got to get to work. It's important. So, and of course, he was off sick for a couple of weeks, so he didn't earn any money. So it's been a struggle. I've got to be honest, it is a struggle. But the good news, he got to always put a positive spin on everything, is he's got to work. He'll get home. Means that I've got a day where I don't have to worry about picking him up at sort of like 11 o'clock in the evening. So I can relax. I've just got to put a positive spin on it. You know what? There are a lot worse things that happen to people, aren't there? And this could have been a lot worse. It could have broken down in the middle of nowhere. It could have broken down, at a supermarket miles away from where I live. And what would so that would have been even more complicated on a Saturday afternoon. Trying to get hold of people at the weekend is difficult, costs a lot of money. If you can even get anyone to come out, because people switch off at the weekend, don't they? And who can blame them? So, yeah, currently I've got a poorly car again. It's just, anyway, financially it's a nightmare, but you know what? There are worse things, aren't they? What else did I want to tell you about? Oh, yeah, getting all that shopping. Look, I haven't done that much shopping, but it was a heavy bag, to be honest, to be carrying home with two dogs, two disobedient dogs who don't walk nicely on the lead. And in 30 degrees, or near enough, it was about 28 degrees. It wasn't easy. But anyway, I did it, and I'm here. So there you go. Right, I've shown you the TikTok video. What else? Right, I think I'm more or less. Oh, I wanted to show you this video, if I can find it. So one of my dogs, Princess Tia, the German Shepherd, who technically is my son's dog, where am I going to find? I took a little video of this morning because I wanted to ask you, do any of your dogs eat? Now, when she eats, she lies down on the floor. It's really funny. It's like she's too lazy to stand up and eat. Now, my other dogs don't do that, but she does. She lies down on the floor and then eats, And anyway, I took a little video of her. Oh, there she is. How will I show that? Let's see. How will I show that? Let's see. Oh, there you go. I took a little video of her. It's like she's too lazy to stand up and eat. She's so beautiful.
Make sure you chew it properly.
As soon as you start videoing her, she gets up. But let me just show it you again.
Having a little chomp. Make sure you chew it properly.
So yeah, I thought I'd. Did you see that? I think you did see it. Did you? I think you did. But anyway, yeah, she's. Yeah, do any of you, your dogs eat lying down. She's always done it. You know, it's strange, really. Just like, it's like, oh, I can't be all standing up and eating. I'm going to lie down and eat. Anyway. Okay, so that's more or less my waffle finished now. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you. Special thank you to my members. You are the mainstay of my channel. You're what keeps this channel going. A special thank you to those of you who send Ko-fis or super stickers or nice messages, nice emails, leave nice comments. Thank you for any positive impact you make on my YouTube channel. And I want to say hello, lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hello, lovely replay crew. Thank you for watching. All you snowflakes out there, you're all individual, beautiful. I love all of you. We've all got something to offer to this world. How to know when your mission in life is over if you're still alive? It isn't. We've all got something to offer this crazy world, one way or another, something positive. So thank you to all of you. Okay, so now I'm going to come into the chat. I see a lot of you have been chatting. Let's have a look. Hi, Paul. Yes, found. So back in custody now. But yeah, poor guy was totally confused. You can't help but feel sorry for him, you know, whatever. I mean, just like, you know, it wasn't his fault that he was released. And he was totally confused. So in this case, he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. Hi, Lily. Hi, Blue. Hi, Patterdale Man. A beautiful photo of me. Oh, thank you, Blue. Thank you, Lily, for the congratulations. Yeah, I don't think he wanted to be free, did it? From what I can gather, he wants to go back to his own country. So I think he's going to be deported back to Ethiopia, I think. That's what normally happens and what should happen with people that are convicted. If they're not got legal status, they should be deported. But I think he wants to go back. But anyway, hi, David. Hi, Purple Sunflower. Yeah, that's right. He hasn't committed any crimes, David, since he was accidentally released. He wasn't hiding. He was in the library. He was on the trains. He was chatting to people in the street. He was completely confused, you know. And I'm not sticking up for whatever he did that put him in prison in the first place. And we're going to look at that. I'm not saying he's a fantastic person. What I'm saying is, in this particular instance, was not his fault. And these people, they're supposed to be professional, for fuck's sake. Sorry, excuse my French. But the prison service, you know, whoever decides who gets released or whatever. My question is, how could that possibly happen, that anyone should be released accidentally? That's impossible, surely. Oh, you were released accidentally. Accidentally unlocked your prison cell. Oh, accidentally, you know, gave you whatever they give prisoners when they're released. Oh, it was all an accident. How can it possibly be accident? You know, it's total cock up is what it is. So maybe they'd be better saying that, you know, you were released. It was a complete cock up by us. Oh, accidentally. Good God. Ridiculous. Oh, it seems to be raining everywhere else, but not here. Though, yeah, that's Princess Tear Blue. She always lies down to eat. It's like she's done it all her life. It's weird. And, you know, you can't, what can you do? I don't think she ever stands up and eats. it's like I'm too lazy to stand up and eat this chow. I'm going to lie down here. There must be other dogs do it. Hi, Darren. Yeah, but it could be David. But yeah, but the thing about German Shepherds as well is I've looked into that. They get bloat. They're very susceptible to bloat. And from what I can read, a raised bowl is not good for them either. You know what it's like with medical advice, be it dogs or people. You'll always get one expert who will say, oh, no, they shouldn't be lying down and eating. And then another one will be saying, oh, they shouldn't have a raised bowl. But, have looked into raised bowls because, when she first started doing it, which was years ago, this isn't something she's only started doing as she's got a little bit older. She's always done it. And when I started looking into it, first of all, some people say, oh, yeah, raised bowl, and then other people say, no, raised bowl is really bad for bloat. And German Shepherds, apparently, very susceptible to bloat. So she's okay. She's got no problems with her tummy or anything like that. Obviously, if she was showing signs of, discomfort or whatever, I'd be looking at how she's eating or whatever. But no, she's always done it. So I'm just, just letting her do it. If she's comfortable doing that and she's not having any problems, which she doesn't have any problems, then, I don't want her to get bloat. Anyway. Yeah, maybe I need to get my son a mobility scooter to get to work. Okay. So let's hear let's look at this story. And we're going to look at it from the beginning. So it's important to say he is back in custody now, so that's good. But look, this picture in the background, this was him in the library with his bloody, what do they call them bags for life. How often do we see crime videos that have always, bloody people carrying heads round in bags for life? These bags for life have come in really handy, haven't they, for criminals? Now, I can't say that this guy's been a criminal at this point in time. He's wandering around the library in his prison tracksuit. I mean, talk about a crazy world. You could not make this up, could you? How's it taken the authorities as well all this time to get him? They let him out on Friday. They've only just got him. He's been wandering around. Yeah, you could be right there, Paul. He's been wandering around in his prison. Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, the thing is, of course, London's a big place, so it's not that easy to find someone in London, I would imagine. But so let's look at the story right from the beginning. I'm going to look at his court case first. When he was actually, so this is a BBC article from when he was in court. So this was, it was in August. So it was only in August. Apparently it was in Epping. He's accused of sex assaults in Epping. Said he's not a wild animal. It was at Colchester Magistrates Court. He said, I'm a Christian. It's not in my culture. But apparently put a hand on this young girl's knee. And earlier a woman had told the same court she was shocked when Kebatu allegedly put his hand on her thigh. And he's from Ethiopia, denies all 5 charges against him, which include the sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl, harassment, and inciting a child into sexual activity. So do you know what I mean? There's quite a lot of, did he even know? I don't know. I'm not trying to stick up for him. Certainly in being released accidentally was not his fault. But this, I don't know what he did. So anyway, so as you can imagine, with the sort of tinderbox that the UK is at the moment as far as immigration's concerned, and offences by migrants and illegal immigrants and people waiting to get residency in that. It was a big case at the time, apparently. I mean, I personally don't remember it, but I tried to avoid all this sort of immigrant hating type things. But yeah, so allegations of the incident led to a wave of anti-immigration protests and counter demonstrations outside the Bell Hotel, where Kebatu was staying as an asylum seeker. Now, as far as these hotels are concerned, housing immigrants, now don't forget that was a Tory policy. There's people like Robert Jenrick, the Conservatives, who started putting immigrants in hotels. And I am 100% agree that immigrants should not be in hotels. But, you know, that is not the use of hotels, how they should be used and how much it's cost the British taxpayer. I'm not a British taxpayer because I live in Spain. But if I was, I'd be really angry about that. I'm not anti-immigration. I think immigration's important. I think people deserve the right to claim refugee status. But while they're waiting, they should not be in hotels. Personally, I would put, I've said this many times on my streams, there's plenty of disused prisons out there that, you know, at the end of the day, when they're waiting for their immigration, their case to be heard, all they need is a bed, food, you know, to be housed. Doesn't have to be a palace, does it? Although I would put them in Buckingham Palace as well. I mean, there's lots of rooms there that could do with being used up. You know, the thing is, not in hotels, because people, understandably, that's got a bad, you know, it looks bad, doesn't it? At the end of the day, you've got to understand about how people feel, whether you know, agree with immigration, don't agree with it. To the thought of them being housed in hotels. And the other thing that happens there is then what we would think of as cheaper hotels, you know, that people were using, people who can't afford to go and stay at the Ritz. I mean, you won't see these immigrants in the Ritz or places like that. But the more value for money hotels, they're being used, and that puts the price up. Again, for, you know, I know lots of people who live here in Spain go back to the UK on a regular basis to visit family and often stay in like Premier Inns or, well, now they've gone, you know, the price has skyrocketed because a lot of those are used for refugees, asylum seekers. They shouldn't be in places like that. They need to be somewhere decent. They need a roof over their head. They need food while their case is sorted. And as soon as it's ever found that they've got any criminal convictions, they should be sent back to their country, you know, and that should be 100%. Don't want people, but, you know, we have to remember that not all immigrants are bad. So it's just like not all British people are bad. So all those British people that go off to Benidorm and Spanish think, you know, that's what all British people are like. You cannot generalize people, or British people that come over to Spain are fleeing from crime. You know, I had that incident with that old lady when I was walking my dog, who turned around to me and said, "Get back to your own country. You disgusting foreigners, you only come here to kill and rob." You know, these are not acceptable ways of looking at people, that everybody's the same. You have to take everybody at face value. But anyway, this guy, he did something bad. He was found guilty. He might say he's not guilty, but at the end of the day, he was found guilty. That's the way our system works. So he is a convicted SEX offender, and he should be deported, really. Why is he even in prison? Why has he not been deported? Let's have a look at his...
It's now 17:50 and I'm arresting you on suspicion of sexual assault on a female under 16 years old. So you didn't have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you didn't mention when questioned, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence, okay? We're arresting you for prompt and effective investigation by means of interview and prevent harm to yourself or others. Okay?
No problem.
So give us 2 minutes. We'll just bottom a few things out, and then we're going to start getting rid of a few people. So we'll transfer into
How
cars.
much minutes?
Sorry?
Well, I'll how much minutes?
What do you mean? How much we need?
How much minutes in the office? How many minutes and how many hours are in the office?
You go to the police station now.
Okay.
So you're under arrest.
Wow.
Should you do research?
Yeah. Do you want to jump out? I'm going to cuff you
No,
as
no,
well.
I'm not criminal, sir.
Jump out for me.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Jump out for me. It's easier.
Pocket bag, yeah. For anything.
Jump up. Stand up.
Okay.
Put your hands like this for me.
Okay. Thank you.
And just come and
Pop
step
that in there
onto
for me, sir.
Okay, she is right. The
Give me
phone.
1
yeah.
second. I'll call you
She
back.
is right. The phone.
Yeah,
put that in there.
the lady in blue.
Yes, the lady. Yeah.
He thinks it's
She's
the lady
drinking,
in blue.
and I
Right.
pass. Please call me. You are black man. You are coming, man. You are coming my home. What?
It's a child.
Yeah.
child.
Just coming, man.
So the allegation is that you've touched a child on the
I am
inside of
very
the groin.
discreet. I am a teacher.
Come over here. I need to search you. Don't cry. It's going to be okay. Come step onto the pavement. So I've got a little bit more,
Just gonna do
bit more room.
search.
You can leave your shoes on. It's okay. Step onto the pavement here. No. Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand.
Up. There we go.
And then towards me.
Swatch.
Follow. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, so that was his arrest. Yeah, interesting. So that was his arrest, and that was the trial. So he was told by the prosecutor, "You are an SEX predator." I don't know. Sorry, I'm just reading the thing. So he said it was fabrication. Oh, so he paid €1,800, which is around about £1,500, to cross the channel. He travelled through Ethiopia, Libya, Italy, and France. Now, why he came to, this is another big thing, isn't it, with the immigration crisis, people saying when he came through Italy, for example, or France, why did he not stay there? Why did he come all the way to the UK? I think it's probably a language thing. Also because maybe he has family in the UK. I don't know. I have no idea. So he said these allegations were fabricated, but he was found guilty. So that's what we have to remember. Whatever we think, he was found guilty. That's the way our system works. So as far as, unless he's got an appeal going through and he's ever found not guilty, he is guilty. And when he was asked if he attempted to kiss one of the girls, he said, "I am not a wild animal. I can't do these kind of things. I'm a Christian. It's not in my culture." And he says he never told the girls he wanted to have a baby with him, but that's what the prosecution claimed. And he reiterates a point he made in his police interview, saying she could be my daughter. She is very young. So he said it has been years and years since he's been in his home country of Ethiopia. And he said the allegations against him were simply fabrication, and said he'd done nothing wrong. Anyway, he was found guilty. So that's really, at the end of the day, as I say, that's the way our system works. He was found guilty and he has been sentenced. I'm not sure exactly what his sentence was. But he should be, if he's guilty, then he should be deported back to Ethiopia. Of course he should. So then what happened? So this has all come to, this is how it all started. This is what we're going to look at next. How this thing all started. So don't forget, as I said right at the beginning of this video, he has been found. We know he's been found. He's back in custody. We're just going over the story of how the hell did he ever end up being released in the first place. So this this thread by Sky News started 19 hours ago, because this was Friday when he was accidentally released. And this is where the thread starts. So Sky News heard from a delivery driver who spoke to the wanted man, Hadush Kabatu. So let's not forget, this man was not on the run. He did not escape. He was released despite returning several times to reception because he didn't have a bloody clue what was going on. He didn't know where he was supposed to go, what he was supposed to do. So we can't say that he was on the run. He wasn't on the run. And this delivery driver said that the confused offender was guided to the railway station by prison staff. I mean, it's like something off a comedy film like Naked Gun or something like that. You know, just what? Honest to God, I am my flabber is completely gasted. I am absolutely cannot believe that this has happened. And luckily, he was a person who didn't go off and offend again or, you know, do anything. He could have been, you know, some sort of mad psychopath or something. You know, it's just disgusting that this has happened. So this driver called Sim explained to national correspondent Tom Parmenter that Kebatu approached him with no idea of where he was supposed to go. He describes Kebatu as being very confused, and he says he kept scratching his head and saying, "Where do I go? Where do I go?" So let's have a look at this video.
So I was delivering a fridge and a freezer, temporary fridge and freezer, to Chelmsford prison. I arrived there approximately 10 yesterday morning. Cut a long story short, basically my lorry was too long to take into the actual prison airlock for them to check it. So I'd parked outside, popped in, showed them my ID, showed them who I was at the point of where the guy was released. So I went in, gave him my ID, the guy was released. He walked out of the airlock. He then kept returning back to the airlock and basically saying to the officers there, "Where am I going? What am I doing? I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing." He was holding a pack of paperwork in his arm, literally like that, holding his bag of bits. You could see inside his clear bag, had brown bits where it said evidence and stuff like that on it.
So he didn't know what was happening?
No, he knew he'd been deported. So he'd come over to me and said, "I need you to help me, I need you to help me." His English was pretty good, to be honest with you. But basically asking me to help, and I said, "I'm sorry, what can I do? You know, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go." And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I'm just making a delivery here." And he said, I've been deported. So he kept going back and forth. Anyway, he walked into the...
Yeah, so this poor guy's just making a delivery. He hadn't got a bloody clue. And the prison service, was it HMP Chelmsford, I think, they just told the guy to go. He's gone back. He don't got close. So he's ended up asking this delivery driver, well, he don't know what he's supposed to be doing.
Reception of the actual prison. And we're saying to the officers there as well, you know, where do I go? What do I do? And he was presenting the paperwork he had. And they were saying that you've got to go to a set place. Exactly what for, I'm not sure. It was something to do with the deportation. And I don't know the whole process of it. But there was no address. There was no set address to say, right, this is where you're going and this is how you get there. So he kept saying, well, where do I go? What do I do? I don't know. And then he'd come, they basically was almost sending him away. It's like, go. You've been released, you go. So he come back out, goes back in. And it was about maybe fourth or fifth time. He goes back in and one of the officers, she's obviously a search lady or something, started to help him and said, all right, let's get your paperwork out. And they were going through all of his paperwork and saying, there's nothing on there. There's no address. Where's he going? And they were giving us his address and saying, basically, he's got to get onto a train to get to this destination. So there was nobody there to pick him up or anything like that. They didn't even write down an official address of saying, this is where you're going and this is what you've got to do. It was like, this is where you've got to go. So the commotion was back and forth. Then, because of the size of my lorry, I actually went into the prison, walked around the prison. So I was there maybe a good half an hour, 40 minutes, if not longer, working out my job, by which point I come out again to get my lorry, and he's still there.
Oh,
So it wasn't a case of he's released and he's disappeared and run off. He was standing around the prison trying to work out where he needed to go for maybe an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer.
yeah, because some people, could you imagine if they're a little bit more switched on, they'd be like, oh, bloody brilliant, you know, off they go. But he, you know, there's a part of me feels a bit sorry for this guy. I don't know, you know, at the end of the day, he was found guilty and he's been sentenced. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of, I've seen it on TikTok and things like that. There's a lot of, in a case like this, it is one person's word against another. And, you know, you have to look a bit more into things sometimes. Why, you know, did he say things to those to that girl, or it's his word against hers? You know, with any of these sort of sex cases, it always is. And, you know, I would normally always side with a woman, always, because I think, why would a woman lie about something like that? But sometimes you just think, well, he just looks so completely confused by everything. And there's so much hate and division and attempts to stir up hate and division in the UK. You know, but I don't know. But he was found guilty, so you either have to accept our system or not.
Before, I overheard one of the officers saying, right, this is how you get to the station. You know, you go down here, la-di-da.
So somebody at the prison directed him to the station?
Yes, yeah. And they told him he had to get on a train. Whether I say there was a communication and, you know, where he's gone now, we don't know. But somebody directed him to the train station and said he had to get on a train to go to this place. And I overheard that conversation because I say it was out in the open at the front of the prison.
How did he seem to you when you were talking to him?
He was very confused, very, very confused. He kept scratching his head and saying, oh, where do I go? Where do I go? And I said, I don't know. I said, I'm just here to do a delivery.
This poor guy's there to do a delivery. I mean, you couldn't make this shit up, could you? You know, at the end of the day, whoever's fault this was, it was not the guy's fault. Whatever the guy did in the past, and maybe he's the biggest piece of shit you can imagine. But in this particular case, you know, he didn't release himself from prison. He didn't. Somebody else, you know, made that mistake. They're the ones that need to be held accountable for this. I just cannot believe this has happened.
I don't know. As I say, when he went in maybe fourth or fifth time, and we was in the reception area, he then started to almost get upset. You could see he was getting very, very stressed. And, you know, by all means, I'm not sticking up for the guy at all. Yeah. But I'm just saying he was getting very stressed because, in my eyes, what I see is he wanted to do the right thing and go to the right place. He knew he was getting deported, but he didn't know where he was going or how he was going to.
He was probably terrified of doing the wrong thing, getting arrested again, getting more on his sentence or something else happening to him. He just didn't know where he was going.
Get there.
And he should have been in custody. He shouldn't have been out at all.
No, exactly that. Exactly that. So he's come out, he keeps asking me for help, and I was like, I can't help you, I'm here to do my job. And I say the officers, in a nice way, the staff within the prison, didn't seem to have any interest of helping them either. It was almost like, you're released, off you go. You're released, off you go. Go to this place, go and get on a train, do this, or the train station's down there, go right, go left, whatever the directions were. And that was it. But I said there was no rush from the moment he came out of the airlock to disappear off. He was there for a good period of time, and even stood outside the front of the prison, kind of trying to work out what's going on, where he's going, and quite freely, he showed them all the paperwork he had, which, like I said, had no address on it. No address.
Just crazy, isn't it? So, you know, I wonder how long it took before they realised. Could you imagine the conversation? It'd be like, oh, hang on a minute. That guy that we just released 3 hours ago, it was the wrong guy, or it was a mistake, or, I mean, I don't know how it was a mistake, and then it'd be like, oh, do you think he's still outside? Quick, go and have a look if he's still there. I mean, what the fuck is just like, you know, at the end of the day, in prisons, like if I make a mistake, my job really is a Spanish teacher. So if I make a mistake and I tell somebody the wrong word for something, or I don't pronounce it right, or, you know, because we're all fallible, we all make mistakes, don't we? It's not the end of the world, is it? But these, you know, when you're in a job like that, that's a mistake that could have led, he could be a different kind of offender. He could have gone straight out and RAP'd somebody, or, you know, assaulted somebody, or done something. He could be a completely different type of offender to the offender that he is. You know, so there's a lot at stake for releasing someone accidentally from prison, for God's sake.
So this is where you need to go, and this is how you get there.
Now you've realised who he was.
Yes.
What do you make of it?
It's very scary, to be quite honest with you. It's scary, the fact of how this is all unfolded, and how easily he's been able to just get out and then be around the public.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he's obviously not a secure man. He shouldn't have been released. And the fact of there's a number of officers there, in my eyes now, I look is, how has nobody clocked on sooner?
Yeah.
There wasn't a period of where he's come out and he's disappeared and they're like, right, find him. It's taken a number of hours from them releasing him to then realising who he is or who they've released, to then go, we need to find him. You know, he should not have been gone.
What was the change when the people at the prison realised who he was and that he'd gone?
So at that point, when they realised who he was, who they'd released, obviously I was inside the prison doing my delivery. We got to the...
So how have they released him by accident? Have they got his name mixed up with somebody else? Is it because they'll say, oh, black people look the same? I mean, is it like that kind of racist mistake that they've made? How have they made this mistake? You know, wasn't he in a cell with his name on it? You know, or was his name wrongly put on the paperwork? Or did they have the right name on the paperwork, but they just looked at him and thought, oh, he's a black man from Ethiopia, he'll do. You know, it's just, I'm absolutely speechless at this.
The point of, I said, done my delivery, was hitching back up, ready to go, to get out back out of the prison, by which point the police helicopter was overhead. There was guys out on patrol, police dogs.
Oh.
You could hear sirens, number of sirens, because you're right near the road. You can hear sirens flying here, there and everywhere. It was like a big, massive manhunt, basically. Like, we've got to find this guy. We've got to find this guy.
A big manhunt.
They, as I said, because my vehicle was too long for the airlock, they decided they're going to search my vehicle within the prison, which is fine. They check everything, make sure everything is there.
Oh, God, yeah, make sure
They did all of that. They searched all my lorries. So the idea is, once they open both doors of the airlock, because there's a massive security protection to do that, I could then freely flow through and basically get out of the prison and get out of the way. When I got out the other side, there was police cars everywhere, lots of people about. And you just kind of wanted to get out there. You knew something was going on. I didn't know exactly till I got home later on what was going on. But I knew something, and it was just like, I need to get out of here. Something's not right.
I bet he couldn't wait to get out of there, because he's just doing his job. He wants to put in his day's work and go home and enjoy his weekend, because it was a Friday. You know, I bet he thought, oh my God, just let me get away from here. I don't want to get dragged into
so
all
you could
this.
hear, you know, conversations being had. Look, it was relating to the guy that I'd spoken to in the morning. You know, had stood side by side with him, having a conversation, and him telling me how he's been deported. He knew, he was clear he was been deported, but he just had no instructions of where to go, what to do next.
So two key moments within that. The moment when you heard someone from the prison direct him to the train station.
Yes.
And your conversation with him, where he was just confused as to what on earth was happening to him.
Yep. Yeah, so I said, he'd just come out. He had literally a bundle of paperwork. I'd say I didn't look at it personally, But he was saying, "I've got this person." I said, "I don't have a clue. It's not my job. I don't know what you're
Don't
doing, where
even
you've
work
got to
there.
go." To me, he was just at the time just a prisoner being released. I didn't.
And he seems like a nice guy. This guy to me seems genuine, honest, etc. I bet he thought, God, fancy getting sucked into something like that.
Understand who he was, wasn't sure who he was. And I kept saying, like, go inside and then speak to them. And I said, there's a number of staff in there. There's a good number of staff in there, all of which could have, I'm sure, helped, give him some guidance. But it was almost like, just go. And I said, it wasn't until I'd done my walk to find out where my delivery was going that I came back out, and I say one of the officers or one of the team at the prison was giving him clear instructions to say, go down the road, turn left or whichever direction it was, and was guiding him to the station. And I heard him say, having that conversation with him.
And off he went.
Yeah, off he went after that. Obviously, I then had gone into the prison, did my delivery, and I say, getting ready to go out. And as you do, you hear a helicopter come over, and I think, this is bizarre. I'm in a prison, but look up, it's the police. Yeah. So you can hear sirens. You're within the prison walls, but you can hear the sirens going off, people flying around everywhere. And you can just feel the commotion of, lots of people are sort of...
If you're old like me, you might remember like the Keystone Cops or whatever. This is what this reminds me of. Right? It was like an episode from the Keystone Cops. Like all running around like headless chickens and wondering what the hell's going on. It's ridiculous. And you know what? It makes the British sort of system look ridiculous, doesn't it? I still just cannot believe that anyone could be released from prison accidentally. Surely the checks and balances you have to go through to release someone from prison, it's not just like somebody turning up at work in the morning and say, oh, by the way, we're releasing Abdul today. You have a series of checks and balances that you have to go through. You're not just like, that's him just because honestly, I'm feeling like, did they just look at him and get mixed up with another black man or something? What was their criteria for releasing him? Surely his name wasn't on the release papers. I'll tell you, there needs to be an inquiry about this, not only about this, about any accidental release from prison, which apparently there are quite a few, and we're going to look at those in a moment, the statistics. Honestly, if you live near a prison, you need to worry because you need to write to your MP. If I was in Britain now, I'd be writing to my MP, especially if I live near a prison. I'd be saying, what are you going to do about this? I don't want to think that prisoners are going to be accidentally released, no matter what their crime is. You're just lucky that this guy didn't just go straight out and reoffend. He could have gone out, got a machete, and gone and murdered a load of people.
You can just sense when something is going on.
Yeah,
you could sense it was going on.
People across this country are just staggered that this could happen. And
Unbelievable.
You feel the same. This is just something is going badly wrong here.
Yes, yeah. And I say, talking with inside the prison, talking with people, even they're admitting somebody here has messed up. How has it became, look, this guy has been released, and I don't know the personal process of how you get released out of the prison.
What is the process?
I hear there's one person that's, been taken off duty. To me, there's got to be more people that's been involved in this or allowed this to happen. Not just that one person.
Exactly.
It's now, how's that been allowed to happen? Why has it been allowed to happen? In my eyes, how are they going to prevent it happening again? It seems it's not the first time it's happened, and
this is not the fault of just one person, because there's got to be checks and balances. It's like, if you say one guy on the reception turns to the other one and says, oh yeah, what's his name's being released today, then the other person is supposed to say, surely, oh well, let's just check let me just check. There's got to be, can't just be one person saying, oh yeah, let's release him.
I very much doubt it's going to be the last. But, personally being a member of the public, having family yourself.
Yeah, family.
You want everybody to be safe. It's as simple as that. And if somebody can walk out as freely as that, be allowed to roam around for a period of time before you then realise who they are and who you've released for.
Wandering around in his prison tracksuit. I mean, he wasn't hiding, this guy, and it still took them 2 days to find him. Terrible. And, you know, Britain isn't a safe place, is it? You know, there's lots of reasons why you wouldn't feel safe in the UK. I mean, it's, you know, you're never 100% safe wherever you live because there are always twonks out and about wherever. But in Britain, God, you know, if it's not the sort of the gangs with machetes that are going to get you, or the knife crime, or the prisoners being released, or, you know, some people would say, oh, the immigrants causing all this trouble. But you know what? Most people that commit crime in the UK are not migrants or immigrants. They're good or homegrown British. There's so much anger in the UK now. Everyone's so aggressive. That's how it always looks to me, looking from the outside. There's a lot of hate being incited in the UK. I think it's deliberate. You've got to look at people like Tiny Tommy Robinson, who lives in Spain, travels on an Irish passport, and is funded by Israel. And then you've got other people, you know, they're just like, oh, let's stir up a bit of a hate and division. They don't have to live on the streets amongst all this hate and division. They live, you know, Tiny Tommy, he lives in Spain. He's got a bloody villa not that far away from where I live. You know, great big villa with a pool and everything. He's travelling in a Bentley. He's carrying hundreds of euros around with him. He's flying off to Israel on holiday. He's doing this, that, and the other. He's supporting an Israeli team against a London team. You know, I don't know why people can't see this. You've got Elon Musk stirring it all up as if he, you know, they're all stirring the pot. This, for some people, unrest in Britain is what they want because everyone's fighting each other. Nobody's looking up at the elites who are just like having a bloody great time. So we've had Brexit supposedly engineered by the Russians. The Russians supporting Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson, all that just division. You know, it's good for Russia and other countries like that for Britain to be separate from Europe because Britain is diminished by being on its own. It's not made better, it's diminished. And, you know, there was that was engineered. I don't know how people can't see it. Maybe it's because I'm on the outside and I can see it. Some people can see it. Some people can see it clear. And I always trust in, you know, the sensibility of the great majority of the British public, that someone like Farage will never end up being Prime Minister. And Tiny Tommy Robinson, he will be exposed one day for exactly what he is. But, you know, because I do trust the British public, to be honest. They're not so stupid as that. Some are, but a lot aren't. So this is what the Met Police commander had to say. He gave an update. So don't forget, we're going back 20 hours now. The guy is in custody again now, but we're just looking back at how it developed. So the Met Police commander, I mean, are there any worse police force than the Met Police? I mean, they are absolute rubbish, aren't they? I mean, they really are. What's wrong with them? You know, they do so many things wrong. There's so much corruption in there. There's bloody sexism, racism, you name it. Half of them are sex offenders, aren't they? You know, it's like, honestly, the Met Police, I just think, my God. Anyway, he said his force was pursuing all possible lines of inquiry, that Kebatu made a number of train journeys across London. So it was, you know, he was just in plain sight. He was just getting on the train, going from place to place. And just unbelievable. And he was wearing a prison issue grey tracksuit and carrying a bag. And they believed he had access to funds. How he had access to funds, I don't know. Maybe he had a card or something. I have no idea. Maybe they give these prisoners some money when they leave. Anyway, it sought assistance from members of the public. So, I do feel for this guy because he's just going around asking members of the public, like that lorry driver, like, what shall I do? They don't know what he should do. Anyway, he made a direct appeal to Kebatu, calling for him to make contact directly with the police. Now, the thing is, Kebatu probably didn't have a phone. I don't know. Oh, anyway, let's see his video.
James Conway, and I'm overseeing the ongoing manhunt for Hadush Kabatu, who was released in error from HMP Chelmsford yesterday morning. Officers from the Met Specialist Crime Command are pursuing all possible lines of inquiry to find him and return him to custody. I'd like to update you on what we know so far. Mr. Kebatu made his way to Chelmsford train station following his release from prison and boarded a train which departed at 12:42, arriving in Stratford station at 12 minutes past 1 in the afternoon yesterday. Mr. Kebatu was released wearing a prison-issued grey tracksuit and holding a clear plastic bag containing his possessions. He has since made a number of train journeys across the London area. We believe he has access to funds, and critically, in both Chelmsford and London, we believe he has sought assistance from members of the public and has spoken to station staff. If you've had any direct contact with him or are currently providing him with assistance, we are very keen to hear from you. You might have information to help us establish his whereabouts. Later today, we will also be releasing new footage of Mr. Kebatu in London. If you've seen the person in this footage or know of his whereabouts in the past 24 hours, please call 101 and tell us. I'm also making a direct appeal to Mr. Kebatu himself. We want to locate you in a safe and controlled way. You had already indicated a desire to return to Ethiopia when speaking to immigration staff. The best outcome for you is to make contact directly with us by either calling 999 or reporting yourself to a police station.
Call 999.
We would ask any member of the public who sees Mr. Kebatu to call 999 immediately.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So to me, this is the Metropolitan Police. Here they are. This is.
And they come in at the end of the film, the chase scene, to the rescue, and usually bumbling and doing gags in the back of cars, skidding automobiles.
Yeah, good old Keystone Cops. I mean, the Metropolitan Police, that is them to a T. They're absolute rubbish. They are rubbish. Sorry, but they are. I'm not even sorry. I mean, we found out, like, with Wayne Cousins, didn't we, and all that, but we found out a lot of things, really, but... Anyway, going back to the Sky News sort of updates. Yeah, so they think he made his way to Chelmsford train station and he boarded a 12:42 train and arrived in Stratford, London. I mean, where was he going? And then apparently made a number of train journeys. He has access to funds and he sought assistance for members of the public and station staff. Okay, who's this guy? Let's have a look what he was. Definitely an operational failure.
And joining me now is the former prison governor, John Podmore. Sir, thank you so much for joining us here on the programme. Now, I'm hoping that you managed to hear the interview with the eyewitness that Tom Parmenter did a little bit earlier. Just wondering what you make of it.
Well, it's clearly a catastrophic operational failure by the Prison and Probation Service. But to put this in context, Prison Probation Service is broken and catastrophic operational failures are taking place day in, day out, week in, week out. And they're being catalogued by the Chief Inspector of Prisons and the Chief Inspector of Probation. And unfortunately, no one in the senior leadership has ever been held to account for.
Yeah, nobody ever gets held to account, do they? That's the main problem as well. But I do believe as well it's because of cuts and everything, all the austerity years of the Tories. I don't know if Britain can ever be put back together again, you know, because the austerity cuts and everything. And do you know what? Nobody wants to be a policeman now, and who can blame them? Everybody hates you. You don't get paid very well. There's cutbacks, so you're always, running on a shoestring budget. I suppose the prison service is the same. Who'd want to be a prison officer? It's not exactly a fun job, is it? So, you know, the thing is, it's that old adage, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So the people that are doing the most important jobs in our society, or in the British, any society, same in Spain, though I think in Spain, I must say, and I've said it before, there's definitely no shortage of police in Spain. In Britain, it's just like, who'd want to do that job? And they, as I say, pay peanuts to get monkeys, to get people who aren't very good at their jobs, and they make mistakes like this because they can't get like proper people because they don't pay enough money. The job's not lucrative enough because, you know, they don't get proper support, and, you know, it must be a horrible job really when you think about it. You know, so how they're going to get good staff? They have to pay more money and give more, you know, the jobs that are important are not paid enough money, and the jobs that aren't important, we found out during COVID, didn't we, everywhere? We found out what were the important jobs and what weren't the important jobs. You know, we can do without bloody politicians and this, that and the other. We can't do without healthcare staff. We can't do without bus drivers. We can't do without bin men. We can't do without the prison officers, the police. These are essential services. Supermarket staff. You know, these are the people, they don't get enough acknowledgement. They're the people that hold society together. And then you've got all these parasites like the royal family. You know, forget the royal family. Give the money to people that are making us safe and looking after us. You know, get rid of the royal family. What are they doing to help anybody? Absolutely bugger all. Just having a jolly, going all over the world and, you know, abusing young girls and doing whatever the hell they want with all their many homes. You know, it makes me mad because the important services for the general public, for general society, are not paid enough money, and they're not given enough status
for these failures over many years. But this case is quite interesting, and I think what we saw there was a snapshot of a prisoner being released that's being repeated in general terms across the entire prison estate, and that's about prisoners being literally sort of thrown out of the jail, not knowing where to go, what to do, given their belongings in a plastic bag, £76, and being left to get on with it. Now, in this particular circumstance, you know, there's the added issue of deportation. Now, the way the system should work is that it's the job of the prison service to execute the sentence. So, you know, he was convicted and sentenced to 12 months, and it was the job of the prison service to make him serve that part of the 12 months that the law allowed, in which case it would have been only a few months, given the fact that he'd been on remand for a while. But running parallel with that should be information, a deportation order from the Home Office, because, you know, that's clearly the intention, that's clearly government policy, you know, even before this. You know, deportation orders running alongside criminal sentences is the norm. So, you know, what this is tending to suggest, given that he was going back, he was, you know...
So this is him. He's just chatting to people on the street, asking what he should do.
Clearly, He knew he was about to be deported, and probably wants
He
to be
didn't have a
deported
clue
insofar
what
as,
he was supposed to be
he
doing.
is at grave risk given the nature of the offences that he committed. But it tends to suggest.
Now, I'll tell you what, I hope he doesn't get into any trouble for going off. Do you know what? That would be so wrong if this, and I want to say this poor guy, I mean, I know whatever he did in the beginning, I'm not making excuses for that, but you can see he looks completely confused. He hasn't got a clue what he's supposed to be doing. And if he ends up getting, reprimanded or whatever, it's disgusting. They need to hold their hands up. They did it. They made the mistake. This guy didn't do anything in this case. And he was just like, he tried his best to tell them.
Yes, and there's reference there to an officer looking at the paperwork. His paperwork, his release documents, his files should have clearly been flagged as due for deportation. So the question that Mr. Lammy needs to ask is, was that deportation order issued by the Home Office? And if not, why not? But as ever, there will be an inquiry and it'll be in secret. Prison Service will mark its own homework, and this will die down, and we'll never hear any more about it. But people need to be held account, but at a senior level, not just at a local level.
No, at a senior level, of course.
As we saw earlier, there have been hundreds of accidental releases over the past year alone. You seem to imply
hundreds of accidental releases over the past year alone. Hundreds. Tell you what, you live near a prison, doesn't matter really, because they can just get on a train with their 76 quid and go wherever they want. Write to your MP. Honestly, I'll say to you, if you live in Britain, you need to write to your MP and not let this go unnoticed.
That the issue of deportation was an added complication, whether it was for the deportation order or for whatever reason. So does the fact that Kebatu was meant to be deported, do you think that made it more likely that this mix-up happened?
Well, ironically, it should have made it less likely, because it should have been clear from day one that he was going to be deported. So there was no question of release at any point. And also, one has to ask, given that he was such a high profile, I mean, clearly the interest in the case is a reflection of that high profile, that senior leaders and governors in the prison should have been sort of monitoring the.
Do you think it was Prince Andrew or Andrew Windsor that organised this? I'm sure it was probably Charlie Boy or one of the, just, oh God, we're sick of everybody talking about Andrew and the Epstein files and how crap we all are in the royal family. Come on, let's get people talking about something else. It was probably them.
Situation with him on a fairly regular basis. If I'd have been the governor, if I'd have been the director of operations for the prison service, I'd have been saying on a regular basis, where is this man? Have we got the deportation order? When is he going? When is he being removed? How is he being removed? There should have been particular interest in this case. But no, ironically, it should have made things easier. There should have been no question of a £76. There should be no question of him going out in prison issue clothing, carrying a plastic bag.
And just following on from that point then, and again listening to our interview with the eyewitness, what did you make of the behaviour of prison staff and the fact that Kebatu seemed to be confused for quite a long time before he actually left?
Well, it's saying to me that the prison staff were not aware or had not been.
Look, this is genuine footage of the prison when they discovered what they'd done. Yeah, that's CCTV from the prison when they realised how they'd made a mistake. Oh my God, you just could not make it up. I tell you, talk about a crazy world. This world's getting crazier. There's a video that's unavailable there. Wonder what happened there, because when it was filmed yesterday. Oh, why is that unavailable? So, this search started then. This is a court sketch of him viewing a video of one of his victims. I personally, I'm not sure about his conviction, but anyway, there you go. Who's this? Yep, something more systematic going wrong in the prison service. We're expecting, what's this? Yeah. So, how many, it's going to say here, I think. How many? So, according to government statistics published in July, 262 prisoners were released in error in the 12 months to March 2025. 262 prisoners released in error, 128% increase from, sorry, I'm not laughing because it's funny, I'm laughing because I just can't believe it, from 115 the previous year. How can that even be possible? So it's got worse, not better. Oh my God. Oh my God. 262 prisoners. Anyway, so this is apparently what happened since this guy arrived in the UK. He arrived on 29th of June on a small boat. He paid £2,500, euros, approximately £2,155 to cross the English Channel. And then on the 8th of July, so literally hardly 2 weeks later, he SEX assaulted a woman and tried to kiss her. And he then encounters the girl. Oh no, on the 7th. Sorry, it starts on the 7th. He makes, it's not very clear this timeline, he makes sexually explicit comments to a 14-year-old girl who offered him some pizza in Epping, Essex, before trying to kiss her. It just all sounds weird to me anyway, but he did. According to what was found at trial, he was found guilty. Yeah. He SEX assaulted a woman, tried to kiss her, then encounters the girl from the previous day, and again tries to kiss her before SEX assaulting her, which apparently put his hand on her thigh, and he was arrested. And then, of course, he was found guilty. And he was sentenced to 12 months imprisonment and ordered to sign the SEX offenders register for 10 years. So, found guilty of 2 counts of SEX assault, 1 count of attempted SEX assault, and 1 count of inciting a girl to engage in SEX activity, and 1 count of harassment without violence. Anyway, coincidentally, HM Prison and Probation Service is going to be introducing new and mandatory procedures for prison releases. Oh, has this only just been decided? Well, something needs doing, doesn't it? Let's have a look at, this was I just can't believe he was wandering around in his prison tracksuit and his little plastic bag with his belongings in it. And he was just wandering around in a library. He wasn't hiding. He was not hiding. So, let's have a look at this.
This information coming in just a short time ago. So the last spotting confirmed in Dalston in Hackney, Emma.
Yes, certainly pinpointing Kebatu's location on Friday evening at 8 p.m. Gone was the clear plastic bag that he'd left prison carrying when he was in that prison-issue grey tracksuit with all his belongings in that clear bin bag. Now they have been moved into what looks like a kind of shopping bag, that white bag with the handles and the avocados on them, described by the police as distinctive, certainly a bit incongruous, I would say. And so that was 8 p.m. in Dalston in Hackney, which is about 3-4 miles west of Stratford, where Kebatu had arrived in the capital early on Friday afternoon, spotted making various journeys around London, having various conversations with members of the public and also station staff. Hardly a man appearing to want to fly under the radar. And now police making it clear that
he definitely wasn't hiding. Apparently he was outside the prison for 90 minutes, according to that driver.
That they would like the public to look closely at these images and to get in touch urgently, to call 999 if they think that they have spotted him.
Emma, thank you very much for that update.
Anyway. So, apparently, when was it? So that was 5 hours ago. Let's have a look at this video. This was him in a library. He has been caught now, just to remind
Hadush Kabatu, moving picture now, as you can see, of the sex offender. As we've been reporting, police have confirmed that he was last seen shortly before 8 p.m. on Friday evening in the Dalston area of Hackney.
Yeah, so he has been caught. I can't even say caught. He has been found. You know, this guy, he was not running away. He was not hiding. So it must say here that, what? Who's this? Oh, this is another guy. So how a prisoner walked out of the same jail just 2 years earlier. Gosh. So he was released from Chelmsford prison. Junaid Ahmed, 36, awaiting sentence after admitting posing as a doctor to rent a house he couldn't afford and buy a home worth more than £2 million. And he was free for 2 days in June 2023, again released by accident. But he seemed to hide a little bit more because they found him hiding in a loft. Police found him hiding in the loft of a house they raided 10 miles from the jail. So he did attempt to hide. But still, again, it's not actually, you know, it's not his fault, is it, if they release him by accident? You know, I don't even remember this case. It's just ridiculous that this could happen. Oh, here you go. Here's him being put into his van, into a police van.
That's the suspect.
The suspect? He hasn't done anything wrong, though.
Turned on
this
a bus.
time.
The suspect that got let out of custody.
You know, it's not. It's not a suspect. He was there 90 minutes. He didn't even know what was happening. They're taking him off in a police van. Oh, God.
The suspect that got let out of custody.
Metropolitan Police, they're absolute shite. So, you're all safe. You know, you can be set. We're safe. You know, this public enemy number one, this guy who was released by accident, hung around for 90 minutes not knowing where to go. He's off the streets now and back in prison, where he does belong, because he was found guilty. But I do think we have to remember it wasn't him who released himself. He was released. It was an accident. And, you know, something's got to be done about this, because it's only lucky that this guy wasn't a risk to the public. He literally could have gone out straight out if he was a different sort of offender, could have gone straight out and attacked someone, or, you know, sex assaulted someone, or there's a million things that he could have done. And instead he's wandering around a library with a bag for life, not knowing what the hell he's supposed to be doing. Anyway, well, you know, you can say that, Scott, but at the end of the day, it's the 13 years of Tory government that have led to this dire situation. You know, it's dire, and it take a lot of getting it any better. So, you know, I don't think you can blame it on the current government. You blame it on successive governments. And the current government, it's up to them now to get a grip on it. And if they don't, well, then, yeah, it will be their fault. But do you know what? You can't blame this on a government that's only been in power for a year. So, you know, we'll see what happens by the time the next election comes up. But, you know, the cuts in the police and probably prison services, and the fact that nobody wants to do those jobs. I mean, literally, could you imagine? What about, you know, your kids? Would they grow up saying, "Oh, I want to be a prison officer. Oh, I want to be a policeman"? Nobody wants to do those jobs because they're crap and they're not paid well, and they're not, you know, they're just systemic. All that with Wayne Couzens. That sort of showed a lot of it up, didn't it, about the corruption in the police. And now people don't trust the police. But do you know what? There'd be police officers out there and prison officers, etc., who, you know, are good at their job, but they get overshadowed by the crap ones, don't they? And, you know, this guy, you know, whatever he did or didn't do, or whatever, it wasn't him who released himself. So somebody's got to be held accountable for it, in my opinion. Somebody's got to be held accountable. Yeah. Well, I hope he does it. I mean, he shouldn't. Anyway, he's going to be deported. That's the thing is, a migrant is not settled. If you know, he's been found guilty of a crime, whether you think he's guilty or not guilty. I don't know if he's going to appeal against it or what he's going to do. But he's been found guilty, so he has to be deported. He thought he was going to be deported, but deporting someone is not giving them £76 and showing them where the train station is. What did they think he was going to do? Get on a train and go to Ethiopia? If you're going to deport someone because they're claiming immigration status or claiming whatever, and then they end up committing a crime, they need to be deported. But, you know, what, he was supposed to deport himself then, was he? Like, just, oh my God. This doesn't make sense, does it? None of it makes sense. That's it. Garrick was the other one, David. I was trying to think of his name. Yeah, they showed up, the Metropolitan Police, but, you know, it's systemic. So, you know, you're not going to... it's not going to get cured, like, you know, within 10 years, is it? You know, the mayor are just a dreadful police force, aren't they? Or that's the impression now. But there will be loads of Metropolitan Police. I had a student who was a Metropolitan. For anyone who doesn't know, I am a Spanish teacher. I had a guy that I taught Spanish to who was a retired Metropolitan Police officer. And he's come to live in Spain, you know, with his, I mean, he was only young. He was only sort of 50 something, because they retire quite early, don't they? But he told me at the time when all that was happening, there was a lot about Boris Johnson and something he'd been doing that really should have been arrested for. And this police officer said to me, they're never going to arrest a prime minister, no matter what they do. And, you know, oh, right. So no matter what they do, no matter what a prime minister does, or the royal family, or anyone like that, they're never going to get arrested. Never. In a million years, it's just never going to happen. They could do anything and it's never going to happen. So there you go. You know, again, an anecdotal thing, but, you know, he worked at the Metropolitan Police. He was quite high up in the Metropolitan Police. And that's what he told me. You know, there's never going to be a policeman, a prime minister, no prime minister is ever going to get arrested, or anyone high up like that. So do you imagine, even Prince Andrew or Andrew Windsor, he hasn't been arrested, has he? You know, he's been, the rest of the royal family trying to throw him under the bus. But even though they're all, you know, complicit in one thing or another, but he's like the scapegoat, in my opinion. They're all as bad as each other. They've known about Prince Andrew for over 10 years. Never done anything, said anything, and now they're realizing that it's serious now, because less than 50% of people now support the royal family. So okay, right, so I thought I'd give you this story, and I'm glad he's back in custody. I'm glad for him as well, to be honest, because he was probably thinking, what the hell's going on? How am I going to get back to Ethiopia on £76? You know, if they're going to deport him. But, you know, he can't do it himself on £76, can he? So, you know, I'm glad he's back in custody for him as well, you know, and also for everybody else. It's a ridiculous thing that's happened. This is an endemic in the prison. It's not just happened overnight. It's been going on for ages, and you can blame the Tories for it, in my opinion. And whether this new government will ever manage to get a grip on it, and if they don't, will it be their fault as well? But I think at the moment, I know who I'd blame for it, and the austerity, and also don't forget, it's the Tories that put all the immigrants in hotels in the first place. So that needs changing, but you know what? It's the Tories that did it. Okay, I'm off. So I'm off to get lunch. Hope you all have a lovely Sunday. I'll see you really soon in the next video in this crazy world that we're living in. Let's just have one more look at the Metropolitan. So this will be the Metropolitan Police today, won't it? This is them. As soon as they realise that this... We've released the wrong man. It's like, it was another black man, not this black man. I think there's some racism in this. I mean, it's just like, that's what I'd like to know. Did they actually get him mixed up with another man with a completely different name? Or did someone send the wrong name to release? But anyway, be interesting to find out. Okay, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Remember to look after you, because you are the most important person. Because if you don't look after yourself, how are you going to look after anybody else? And take care. If you live near a prison, just keep a check on who's getting released. And if you're actual, you know, work in a prison, if you're going to release anyone, just make sure it's the right person. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, take care. And may your God go with you. Now I'm going to put a happy song on for the end, because it's Sunday. We need some positivity. Let's have this one. Bye.
Click that like if you're smiling today. Give a follow to help spread the play. Share the play with friends everywhere, so more can laugh and show they care. Like, follow, share, subscribe, don't hide. Like, follow, share, subscribe, don't hide. Like, follow, share, subscribe, don't hide, don't hide. Join Vicky Marie's Ride Worldwide. Tap that bell so you never miss a dose of love and endless bliss. YouTube others. Thanks for the support. You're the best crew. Now go tell the world you know what to do. Vicky Marie. Ha ha ha. You Marie.
Ha ha ha.
Let's brag now. Click that like if you're smiling today. Give a follow to help spread the play. Share the joy with friends everywhere, so more can laugh and show they care. Like, follow, share, subscribe, don't hide. Like, follow, share, subscribe, don't hide. Like, follow, share, subscribe, don't hide, don't hide. Let's grow this flame. Click that like if you're smiling today. Give a follow to help spread the play. Share the joy with friends everywhere, so more can laugh and show they care.